What's up, guys? Oh, hey, look, I'm back. You know, since I mocked all that stuff up, I've done like 10 hours of work, and you couldn't tell from looking at the place. I mean, it's like, it's just, I'm struggling. I'm fighting the metal. So I changed the lip on this tunnel, and that led to other things. I figured out that my floor pans, I cut too much of these away, so I had to weld that back together. And then the floors, you know, it's got this bump here, you know. You see this bump here? Well, that sticks out deeper than the cross member thing is set down, so that's not sitting flush. So I'm fighting the metal, man. And what I'm realizing on these Broncos, it was beat to fit, paint to match. I mean, they really didn't put a whole lot of finesse into putting these bodies together. I mean, there's an art to it, but it's like, it's brutal. Over here, I'll show you what I got going on. And I'm sorry I'm kind of jumping all over the place, but one thing leads to another. So I've got the old firewall panels here, which is nice because I can see how the spot welds lined up. And I'm just trying to figure out how to get this new tunnel section to fit into the old panels, and it's kind of frustrating. So I'm gonna work on that today. I'm gonna get the seats to sit flush. I'm gonna work on the tunnel today. So I've got the firewall mocked up, but you can see it's canted here, is canted over to the left a little bit, and it's causing it to go down, and that needs to be perfectly level. And you can see actually the mid tunnel piece is canted that way. So I'm really fighting this metal here. You know, it should be about 57.25 inches from side to side, so that's the dimension I'm shooting for. But the problem is I gotta uncleco that side and adjust it to get it correct, and then I gotta, you know, it's just every time you move something, everything else shifts. So you can see the edge of the floor pan here is sticking out, so I might need to adjust my hole so I can kick this in a little further, but then you're limited because the edge of the floor support is here. Sorry for the heater noise. So I've got it all apart, and I'm kind of figuring out, okay, my problem last time was these were crooked, but I figured out I've got a nice straight edge on my workbench, and this has two lips that sort of catch there. So what I'm doing is I'm basically putting these together. I'm mocking this up with the holes from these two original pieces so I can see where these were connected before. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, put this across, and there's a break. I'm going to look down there, down that break line. All right, so now these brakes are lined up. Okay, 57.25. Perfect. I'm not going to fully burn this in, but I'm going to burn this in, and I'm going to burn this in, tack it in. I need to get something square going that I can key off of, and it's kind of a risk, but I'm going to do it. I need to get something square here, so I'm going to give it a try. I was going to sandblast these, so I'll just pop these in the sandblaster real quick. All right, that's my firewall. Another mistake I was making was I can see the line where the old flange met up with this piece, so I was using that as the go-by, matching up the top. What I'm realizing now is this flange is only about 1/2 inch. The other flange is almost 1 inch. So I was pushing this way too high up the thing. All right, I've checked this about 18 times. I've punched my holes. I went in with a flat disc and cleaned this up underneath so it was level because the old spot welds were interfering. So I'm square, you know, both dimensions are the same. So I'm only going to burn in this flange here. And the reason for that, sorry, I've got my dust mask on. The reason for that is if I just burn this in, I still get all the adjustability of in and out and up and down and moving these up and down. So that I can fit to the other panels, but I really want to get this dimension in. That way I know I'm square here and I can get my tunnel lined up with that as well. You know, the next big challenge is really going to be that tunnel. Let me move the camera over. Without the without the tunnel piece in there, I can kind of get my wells here even. But you see, you move this one, it goes like this. You move this one, it moves that one. You move this one, that one moves this one. And I don't know whether it's a relation of the, I'm still trying to figure out how it works. I think it's because this end butts up against this flange. I've got half of mine to just notch this flange out so I have more play, because this really limits my play, and that flange attaches to the rocker panel. There's two holes here for the seatbelt mount, and they're covered by this support that jogs, this dog leg support that goes under the whole section. This is separate. So I gotta figure out if I can cut out that section out of my old body and knock that old seatbelt off, and the seatbelt backing plate off, and reuse it, what kind of condition it's in, or create a new one using that one as a template. So on Instagram or Exchangeogram, it's where you take your pictures and you put them on the line. Someone was asking me if I'm building the body from scratch. Obviously I am building the body from scratch. I don't recommend doing it. If you can in any way save your body, you should do it. I just, you know, for me it was like, I had to replace every panel because it was rusted, or patch every panel because everything's rusted. All around all the floorboards, every single panel's got rust in it. And like grinding out, cutting out spot welds is like probably my least favorite thing in car restoration. So I was like, I kind of want the challenge of building a car from scratch. It like, who does that? Nobody, you know. I did my own axles. I'm going to build my own body. I'm going to build my own motor and my own transmission. And why? It's not because I don't want to spend the money. I mean, I don't want to spend the money, but it's just, I really want to do this on my own. I want to know if I can. It's a stupid bucket list thing to have. I'll never do it again. Saying famous last words. But it's part of the process. And you know what? I wanted to talk about the channel a little bit, for those of you who are still hanging on after that boring rant. You know, I'm sort of maxed out. I've got 2,000 subscribers. Thank you, by the way. You guys are loyal fans. But I'm never going to have a huge fan base, you know. I'm just going to keep it technical and real. You know, early on, I did like stuff on the Chevy and a couple of throwaway episodes. I'm not really going to do that anymore. I'm just going to do the Bronco, finish it, and then I'll move to the Scout and do that, finish it. You know, I'm tired of trying to be a Mr. YouTube star. It's just not going to happen, you know, and that's okay. That's not how I make my living, thank goodness, because the $94 a month is not going to pay very many bills. If one of you guys is friends with like Rachel DeBarrios or Finnegan or something, and you can get him to sort of link to my channel, hey, that hats off to you. That'd be great. But realistically, I could have been a contender, but I'm just never going to get there. And it's not a sad thing, it's just the way things are. Plus I got a lot going on in my life, guys. I mean, work is just insane. If you've never built a power plant, let me tell you, the fact that I get any work done on my Bronco at all is a miracle. You know, these power plants are like $600 million. They generate, the one I'm doing in Maryland generates about 750 megawatts, which is enough for like a city, basically, a small city. So it's pretty incredible. You know, the other thing is like you're around industrial equipment all the time. It's pretty amazing. You know, when you see a valve, a real valve, you know, one that can take 2,000 PSI and 1,500 degrees Fahrenheit, that stuff is real. You know what I'm saying? I mean, the pipe, the wall of the pipe is that thick. High chrome. I mean, and when they weld that, they do x-rays and check the whole weld for porosity. So you can imagine a bevel like that filled with TIG all the way. So they got a 1 root weld, 2 through 5, 10, and then by the time they get to the top, it's a row, stack of dimes like that all the way around a 12-inch, 14-inch high pressure steam pipe. It's really incredible, and it's really complex. So I'm very blessed to have had the opportunity to work on projects like that. But dude, the politics, the labor issues, the vendor issues, I mean, it's insane. So it's definitely big boy stuff. It makes the Bronco look like a little Matchbox car, so it's a really nice break for me. And you think you can weld? Those boys do that pipe welding in the dirt, upside down, in the sun, and not with an auto darkening helmet. They have one of those Iron Man old school like helmets, because that's what the pros do, So anyway, that's just a little bit about what I do for a living. I haven't always built power plants. I'm just a general construction guy. I've done hotel casinos, I've done universities, houses. I started out in multifamily homes with retail underneath. I've worked on mines, I've worked on, did I say hospitals? Just like random stuff. And then I got into industrial. I built a coal plant in Guatemala, and then and that was sort of my first foray into industrial power plant construction. So now I'm a power plant guy. And of course, America stopped building power plants, in case you didn't know. So the company I work for used to actually be Enron. When they were around, they built so much power in the United States that there's just an abundance of power everywhere. And then when you combine that with the fact that super cheap new technologies like solar and wind are coming into the market, it's actually destroying the American power industry. I hope this is interesting. Anyway, so, and some of this is just opinion, but this is what I see, And then on top of that, labor productivity is in the dumps, okay? Our average pipe fitter, the guys who do that welding, is like 56 years old, 54 years old. Nothing wrong with being 54, but when your average is 54, your productivity is not going to be very high. And because the industry's shrinking, the young guys in the union hall, they don't get priority, right? So they can't make a living. So they're benched, they leave, they go do something else for a living. So the senior guys, and they've earned their seniority, I'm not saying they haven't, but the development of the next generation is not there. We're seeing productivity rates so low nationwide. It's really sad actually to see an American industry go away. And don't be surprised if in 20 years China's building our power plants. That's my Matt Galanian's Save America rant for the day. I hope that was interesting. I could talk like that all day. Actually, originally, that was what my channel was going to be. I wasn't going to do a car restoration channel. I was going to have a Matt's woodshed, where I take America out back behind the woodshed and teach him a lesson. I have all these ideas about ways we can make our country better, and it's really not. I mean, everything's political, but it's not left or right political. It's just like, do we need mail service 6 days a week? Really? Really? I check my mail once a week. If you really need your mail that bad, can't you go to the post office and get it? Do we need an army of postal? Now, I'm going to have a post office guy. See, this is why I didn't do that channel. Because now one of you guys is a retired post office guy. You're going to get all upset. And we get thumbs down. It's just like everyone's too passionate. No one separates their own agendas from what is actually good. Another one I was going to do was high frequency trading. How is that a thing? Do you guys even know what high frequency trading is? I mean, it's ridiculous, right? They trade stocks like 1,000 times a second. How is that an investment? That's speculation. I mean, if we just made a law that said if you buy a stock, you have to keep it for 1 day because it's supposed to be an investment, that would change Wall Street. It would change New York. It would change a lot of things. And don't even get me started about, the quarterly reporting of public companies. I mean, you got like these executives are incentivized to not take the company's well-being at hand, right? Not the shareholders. They're incentivized to make their quarterly bonus, So that's what happens when you don't pay dividends, right? It used to be everything's dividends based. That's why Ford is at $10 a share, even though their EPS is so much better than Amazon, which is like bajillion dollars a share with a crazy EPS, right? I mean, it's like, it makes 0 sense, guys. 0 cents. Why am I going on about this? Because, I got off of Facebook. I stopped arguing with people that were supposedly my friends. I quit Facebook about a year and a quarter, like 15 months ago, and it was great. I don't argue with anybody. I still pay attention to the news, but the news is all nonsense, It doesn't matter right, left, they're all full of it. And while I'm trying to figure that out, I'm going to make it better one Bronco at a time. See you next time on Matt's Garage.